so just imagine for yourself that when you were a child, you got to wake up every day, whatever time you wanted to. Just imagine that every single day when you woke up, your mother or your father would come to you and say, "Oh my God, it's another day. We can do whatever we want. What are you interested in today? What are you excited about?" Well, guess what? You'd have 100 freaking ideas about all the things you would want to do, all the things you could do. And simultaneously, you may just be completely and totally happy to just sort of dance around and be like, because that's enough. Taking a breath can be enough. You know, when I was a kid, I would swim in the pool for 8 hours a day in the summertime. Just swim all day long. Now, I didn't wake up and be like, okay, I'm going to swim for 8 hours, and I'm going to play this game for 1 hour, and this game for 2 hours, and then this game for a half hour, and then I'm going to take a lunch break, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. But in every single moment, it was like, okay, I can do whatever I want. And I'm going to swim now. I'm going to swim as long as I want to swim, and I'm going to get out of the pool, and I'm going to jump back in. I'm going to get out, and I'm going to jump back in, and I'm going to swim as long as I want. I'm going to get out, and I'm going to jump back in. And as soon as I was hungry, I could eat. And then as soon as I was full, I would stop eating. Pretty simple. Right? So what if we had that freedom? Just imagine how enjoyable life would be. Imagine how enjoyable life would be. Well, a lot of parents are going to be like, oh, well, you know, blah, 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 blah. What about learning stuff? You know, what about an education? What about blah, 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 blah? Well, see, here's the fact, is that an awakened being, an empowered being, is learning every single moment. Every single moment. Every single moment. Every single moment. There is feedback between you and life, you and another individual, you and the world, you and the universe. And a conscious person is aware of that feedback, moment to moment, moment to moment. And a conscious person is constantly fine-tuning that. Is constantly fine-tuning that. Right? So the reality is we're learning every single moment. Now, somehow, people have actually begun to believe this story and this education that if we're free to do whatever we want, we're going to rape, kill, steal, you know, and just utterly act like, you know, blasphemous sinners all day long because that's who we are. Well, my experience has actually told me that it's the exact opposite. That really, all we really want is to just be free. That we really want to be able to just wake up whenever we want to wake up. And we really want to be able to just go to sleep whenever we want to go to sleep. And we really want to be able to just eat the food we want to eat and to have enough of it. And when we actually have that, all of a sudden we don't need all this other stuff. And all this other stuff that we grow up thinking we need and that's so important, we actually realize it's really not even that important at all. And that we actually want to help people. We actually like to get along with people. We prefer getting along over being confrontational. We actually prefer helping each other and benefiting each other than stealing from each other for our own benefit. Right? All that stuff comes from desperation. It all comes from a core energetic of lack. Right? See, here's the fact is, number one, if you never learned how to read, or you never learned how to do math, or if I never learned how to read and I never learned how to do math, but I learned how to enjoy being alive, that would be worth it. Because I'd rather live a whole life enjoying being alive and never know how to read, never know how to do any math, than to not enjoy being alive my whole life and be really good at math and know how to read so that I can read all these stories and these lies about how the earth was created and about how the farmers built these pyramids with ropes and copper tools and all these mathematics that, you know, are solving all sorts of problems that are completely and totally irrelevant for my existence. Because feeling good is actually extremely relevant. Because when you feel good, everything is great. And I don't even have to get into the whole, energetic metaphysics of it all. But the reality is that when you feel good, amazing things happen. Whether you know how to do it or not. Whether you know how to do it or not, if you feel good, amazing things happen. And so if you're actually able to consciously feel good, if you somehow learn or educate yourself or are educated to feel good consciously, what that means is that you're actually going to live an abundant and beautiful life consciously, no matter what you know how to do. Simultaneously, if you know how to learn, because the greatest thing you could ever learn is knowing how to learn, you can learn whatever you want. It's insane. Like, if I were to try to write a resume about all of my skills and all of my experiences, it'd be insane. And the reason why is because I haven't spent my life in school, and I haven't spent my life working. I've spent my whole life learning. And I'm still learning every single day. I'm fine-tuning all the things I've already learned, and I'm learning things that I have never even learned before. And every single day I'm more capable than I was the day before. Every single day I'm more abundant than I was the day before. Because I know how to learn. Now the fact is that when you go to school, when you're put in an education system, you actually forget how to learn. Because all you know how to do is be taught. Because that's your only choice. If you don't listen to the information, if you don't memorize it and regurgitate it for a test, then you're a loser. There's no learning that's taking place. There's training. There's conditioning. That's all that's taking place. It's the exact same things if you go into the military. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, all day long. All day long. Right, left, right, left, right, left. That's it. And if you need to be taught how to go right, left, come on. I've never met a single person who doesn't know how to put their right foot in front of their left foot on command. I've never met a single person who doesn't know how to do that. Now, I have heard of people with extreme diseases, or extreme physical disabilities, where they can't physically move their leg or they don't have a leg. But that's extremely rare. It's extremely, extremely rare. And it's not necessarily that that they can't learn how. It's just that they don't have the capability. If you don't have a leg, you can't put it in front of the other leg. But if they had a leg, they'd be able to do it. Because it's extremely obvious. It's extremely simple. All right, so it's not learning that's taking place. It's conditioning. It's conditioning. It's the opposite of learning. Learning is an intuitive. It's an individual, process is taking place within yourself. That's where real learning is taking place. And the ones that are able to learn the best are the ones that are able to question everything. They're able to look at both sides. And to be able to experiment and to explore with both sides. And then to consciously be like, well, I've experimented here and I've experimented here, and this one works and this one doesn't. So regardless of what this person says over here, my experience tells me that this works. Right? And that's me. I'm a living example of that. I've been sick one day in 13 years. No pharmaceuticals, no doctors, no prescriptions. I don't even use any herbal remedies. None of that stuff. Even though there's all of this education, billions and billions and billions of dollars going into how to treat this sickness, this allergy, this disease, I just do it by breathing. I just do it by living. Because I've taught myself things that aren't available. And if I didn't teach myself that, what would I be? I'd be sick. I'd be older every day. I'd be working a job, I'd be paying my taxes, I'd be following all the rules. If I learned what I was being taught, that's who I would be. The only reason I am who I am is because I taught myself. That's the only reason I am who I am. Because I didn't listen, because I questioned everything. Especially my family, especially my parents, especially the government, especially the experts. Another really important thing to look at is that pretty much all the greatest minds that we've ever heard about in history, the ones that have invented or innovated the most, revolutionary technologies or manufactured, implementations, whether it was philosophy, whether it was science, whether it was electronics, whether it was spirituality, basically every single one of them, all the ones I've ever heard of anyways, all disagree with the educational system. And that's current, and that's hundreds of years old. Doesn't matter how far back you go, the greatest minds, all the greatest minds are going to say the same thing. The educational system is designed for conditioning, just like the religion system. Religion, education, government, all of those things are designed to control the masses. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. That's fine. I'm not here to change anybody. I'm not here to tell you what you should or should not do. All I'm here to say is that the possibility does exist. The reality does exist. That you're fully capable. That there's more than enough of everything and you can do whatever you want. And I'm not going to educate you on that. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I'm just going to tell you the possibility, and you can choose to be educated by that information, by that story, or you can choose to hold on to and keep your education that you've had, which has gotten you to where you are. Right? If your life is so freaking amazing, why do you get sick? Why do you dislike your job? Why do you pay your taxes that you don't agree with? Why do you follow all these rules that you don't agree with? Why do you do so many things that you have to do? So it's very common that we justify our lives. Oh yeah, my life's pretty good, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying don't be thankful for your life. Absolutely be thankful for your life. Be thankful that you're alive, because life is a miracle. But if you're really thankful for life and you're really aware of the true potential of life itself, you're going to really live. And I don't know people that are really living. I know people that are pretending to live. I know people that are talking about living. Right? And yes, I'm sitting here talking, but the reality is I'm actually living. This is my life. This is who I am. And the facts are is that my skill set, my resume, is much larger than most people at 90 years old. And I'm only 30. I can build my own house and every single component in it. I can grow all of my own food, 365 days a year. I can make all my own pottery, including the glazes, including the clay itself, the kiln. I can take care of my own body. I don't need any doctor. I don't need any prescriptions. I don't need any medicines. I can learn anything that I want to learn. I can make my own clothes. I can paint all my own pictures. I can create my own websites. I can make my own money. I don't need some boss or some person to give me a paycheck, a piece of paper. I'm a master, culinary chef. I could go anywhere in the world and I could wow and dazzle people's mouths and bodies with, mouthgasmic pleasure. And I don't even have to practice. I could do it blindfolded. I could be on a table with a bunch of food and I could smell that food and I could taste that food and I could feel around and I could mix all that food into something amazing that would blow your mind. No recipes. I could use foods that I've never even used before and make an amazing dish. That's all possible. It's all real. Right? It's happening. If you ever come here to the Garden of Eden and you ever spend a few days here, a few weeks here, you're going to see the truth of these realities. Right? The truth and the reality, for example, of children, is that today, little Eno and me were playing up on the top of a 10-foot roof. Right? She's 19 months old. And she's running around on the top of a 10-foot high roof, of which 3 grown men that are here on this property are too terrified to even get up on, let alone run around. That's a fact. That is true. That is real. She's already more capable and more evolved than most 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old men. And she's 19 months. Because she hasn't been broken. She hasn't been broken. You weren't born scared of heights. You weren't born that way. You were conditioned that way. Right? She's not scared of life. She's meeting life. She's not reckless. It was so amazing because I almost never feel anything that could consist of anxiety or fear or stress. But when she was, climbing on the top of that ladder and it was like wobbling around, I could feel a little bit, in my stomach, just like, there's no way I'm going to treat her like she's not okay. There's no way I'm going to tell her that, she's not capable. But man, I just really hope she doesn't get hurt. And I would just tune in there. I'd just tune in. I'd connect with the benevolence and the grace and the divine source power that's available to all of us. And I'd just melt into that. And I'd just meet her there, and I know that we're okay. I know that she's okay. And what's really amazing is that she knows what she's capable of and what she's not capable of.